This is my self-reflection number 2. So for question 1, one of the most challenging concepts thus far in the reading for me was chapter 9 and the theories of social inequality. Although I feel as though I do know what social inequality is and I have a good understanding of that concept, it was difficult to clarify how it resonated with each specific social institution that the text discussed. There was 8 of them, and also within that text it presented different theories of social inequality. I found this to be a little bit challenging for me because there were many different theories and they all took a different stance of social inequality, meaning some of those theories stated social inequality as a good aspect versus some stated it as a bad thing in their opinion. An example of this was conservative theory stated that inequality is a natural divine order and that it shouldn't change, while the radical anti-theory stated the complete opposite of that. So in order for me to better understand those, I wanted to make some online flashcards that maybe can help me separate what theories view social inequality in what way. For question number 2, one of the important concepts that I've learned this far in the reading is the concept of digital culture in chapter 8 of the text. This concept I think is really important to understand because within our current societal culture, we're very dependent on technology. Everything is done online now, such as job applications, homework, shopping, like literally everything is done now online. In the text, Lindgren in 2017 divided the history of digital culture into 4 stages of how it was first introduced into society and how it's developed over time, and he discussed how that was done so rapidly in our culture. I feel like living in a digital culture can be very beneficial, but it also presents its own sets of challenges. And even within my own experiences of working with clients at my internship, I've encountered clients who really struggled with the fact that we are in a digital culture, in the sense that they didn't have access to Wi-Fi or a laptop or a smartphone, which made it hard for them to get resources or apply for a job and just aspects like that. Another important concept that I've come across so far is also in chapter 8, and that would be the mentalist perspective. As described by Hutchinson in this chapter, the mentalist perspective sees humans creating, maintaining, and changing culture on the basis of their beliefs, values, language, and symbolic representation. So I think it was important how the text described culture as being understood as having many layers and peeling back layer upon layer of socially constructed meaning of those cultures. Within each culture, there's many different factors that affect an individual on different levels and different dimensions. So in the case of Rubina in the text, some of those factors were her being brown, even like the shade of brown that her skin was, the religion, wearing a hijab, and things like that. So when working with clients of all different cultures, I feel like it's important for me as a social worker to try and do my best to understand the client using a mentalist perspective and looking at all the different layers and factors within their culture. In question 3, one of the theories that resonates the most with me in the reading so far would be control theory, which was from chapter 4 regarding the physical environment. According to Gifford in 2014, control theory focuses on the issue of how much control we have over our physical environments and the attempts we make to gain control. Within this theory, there was privacy, personal space, territory, and crowding. Growing up in my family, we were a very private family. I was taught to keep everything within my immediate family. It didn't even share stuff with my extended family. And as the text mentions, privacy can also be shaped by cultural values. And coming from a multicultural family, I think this played a big role in my life. As I got older, I moved on my own, and I noticed I continued to value my privacy a lot. I often opted to live alone instead of with roommates, and I always would keep information to myself. Um, Even to this day, I still live alone. And I think that also ties to the concept of personal space for me. Personal space is big to me, having my own space, my own apartment. I grew up sharing rooms and things of that sort, and also just personal space of even strangers in public being close to me or standing near me is big to me. As far as the concept of being territorial, I don't see myself as a very territorial person, but I can see that concept come out in me when it comes to my younger sisters. And the last concept was crowding, which growing up, I definitely felt crowding in my family home. I was never alone. There were so many of us in a small space. So as an adult, I feel like I valued my own space more because I was so used to that crowding growing up. And I feel like now I keep a lot of control over my environment as much as I possibly can because of those experiences growing up.